Kwanzaa, Habarigani. Habarigani. The news today is Ujima. Ujima. Collective work and responsibility. Brothers and sisters, we'd like to get permission from the elders to proceed. Elders, do we have your permission to continue?
Yes.
Thank you. Well, this is the third day of Kwanzaa. On one day, we celebrated Umoja, unity. On the second day, we celebrated Kujichagulia, self-determination. But on this day, we got a whole lot of work to do because it's collective work and responsibility. So we're going to continue this celebration by following up with the elders' permission to proceed. And I'm going to go ahead on and light this candle. Does brother want to come and help me light this candle? Because you got the message for the day. We're going to light all three of the candles. Okay. We're going to start off with the candle for Umoja, unity. That was the first night of Kwanzaa.
We light this candle for Umoja, unity, to strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race.
In the whole wide race. Okay. Then, brothers and sisters, we will go to the next candle. The candle of Kujichagulia, self-determination. And let me help with this. I'm going to move on. Okay.
We light this candle for Kujichagulia, self-determination, to define ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves, and speak for ourselves. And today, we light this candle for Ujima, collective work and responsibility, to build and maintain our community and make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems, and to solve them together.
Ujima, collective work and responsibility. Brothers and sisters, we have a message for you today, but before we deliver the message, we like the full libation. So we have the water, and we're going to pour the libation. I'm going to move around here. And Brother Ola will start off the lighting of the libation with the sound, the original sound, the first sound, the oldest form of communication, the drum. Brother Ola. For our ancestors and that indomitable spirit, for our struggle, and for those who lived, loved, died, and gave all of themselves so that we can have a life on this day, tomorrow, and forever. All of those, too many to name. We'd be here for years naming, but we are here today because of them. We pour this libation. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Now, we talked about Ujima a little bit, but you know what? Celebration void of practice it doesn't work. We got to work. We need to work. So I want to have a brother, Brother Mshonda, to come and deal with you and give you some lessons on Ujima. And brother, we're going to give it to you, and you take it from here and let us know. Give us a lesson. We need a lesson from you, brother.
All right. Let's do our best.
Happy Kwanzaa, brother.
It's our Kwanzaa. Habarigani. My name is Mshinda Inyofu, and I serve as the chair of the NACO Houston area. NACO is the National Association of Kawaida Organizations. So I'm happy and pleased to be here at the Shape Center and share with you a few sentiments about collective work and responsibility, Ujima, to build and maintain our community and make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems and to solve them together. So Dr. Karinga informs us that this is an active and informed togetherness, right? As our brother Deloy talked about, there's nothing that we do individually that will actually work to help improve our nation. So the essence of who we are is a collaboration of people. So that's what this means, an active and informed togetherness, coming together to build upon ourselves, both personally and as a collective, as a people. We're a nation within a nation, and we have to see ourselves as such. So how do we see ourselves as a nation within a nation in terms of striving for a collective unity? Well, let's look at three areas. Let's look at our families. Certainly during this time of pandemic in the year 2020, this international pandemic, right? Look at how beautifully we have come together, right? In a collective fashion to support each other, right? When we know publicly and health-wise, we've had challenges to face. We naturally want to gravitate to each other, but because of the pandemic, unfortunately, we're not able to as much, but we found creative ways. We're using technology. We're doing other types of things to reach out and not let someone be alone in this desperate time of need. So that's Ujima, collective work and responsibility, understanding our necessity to maintain that throughout whatever is going on in the world and in our personal lives. Taking care of our children. We know that this is a struggle, right? The distance learning and how some of our students may or may not be learning at their best because of this newfound way. But guess what? Our parents and our elders and our students, they are doing the best that they can. They are supporting each other. They are finding creative ways in a collective sense to make the best out of this situation until we can get back to some semblance of normalcy. So why am I saying this? Because I want us to see the best in what we do. We know there's going to be naysayers that always can tell us what we can't do. What our objective and what our initiative must be is to say what we can do and what we have done and what we will be doing. So that's Ujima, collective work and responsibility. Look at our communities, again, during this time of pandemic, right? Supporting each other, calling each other, checking up on each other, doing Zoom calls and other types of technology to make sure that we are still together in the best way that we can. Social distancing, right? Doing all the public health things that we should do. Not saying that's not necessary. It is. Why? Because we take this seriously, right? Us as a nation, we want to protect ourselves. So we were participating in the collective efforts of collecting PPE. And we were participating in doing collective work when we were distributing food to combat food insecurity. We've been participating when we were taking people to hospitals or what have you, in hospice places for our elderly. So these are all acts of Ujima, collective work and responsibility. And our cultural sense, obviously this is Kwanzaa time, December 26th through January the 1st. And this is one of the only times throughout the whole world African community on every continent that's inhabitable, where Black people, people of African descent are doing the same types of activities, celebrating the same thing at the same time. That's collective work and responsibility, Ujima. So these are practices that we do every day, and sometimes we might not be aware of them, but this is the time where we can sit back and reflect and reinforce what we have done, right? What we've done in the past, what we're currently doing now in the present, and our mission and our initiative for what we will be doing going forward. So let's take a look at some of this. Let's go back a little bit. Let's look at some people I really admire from the 19th century, like Harriet Tubman. I've heard Dr. Karinga say so many times in terms of how Harriet Tubman, when she escaped to her freedom, right? But she did not just say that, okay, well, this is just good for me and forget everybody else. She went back at least 19 times, back into where she could have been enslaved, where there was the largest bounty on a Black woman's head at that time. She didn't have technology. She didn't have horses. She didn't have as many guns. She had a couple, but she didn't have as many guns as the oppressor who was after her. But she had the ingenuity. She had the collective work of the people that were safeguarding her, right? The safe houses in the Underground Railroad. And she had the commitment to go back and get her family and get other people that were enslaved and bring them to freedom. So I've heard Dr. King say so many times that at the moment that she did that, she changed freedom from an individual initiative to a collective practice, a collective freedom. And so we say that if one of us are enslaved, all of us are enslaved. If none of us are free, if you're not free, I'm not free. So it's a collective work and responsibility that we forge in all of our practices. Another one of my heroes from the 19th century, the Honorable Frederick Douglass. We know Frederick Douglass served in so many areas and initiatives, especially when he was the ambassador to the Black Republic of Haiti. And we know that Frederick Douglass said, if there's no struggle, there's no progress. If there's no struggle, a collective struggle, not an individual one, there's no progress for us collectively as a people. We know the odds are against us here, quote unquote, in the belly of the beast. We've been struggling since we've been here. Our history doesn't start here. We have a glorious history that goes back to ancient Egypt and comes forth. And on this side of the Atlantic, we're still struggling to gain our freedom for all of us, the collective unit of all of us. So again, another example going forward. So through our struggle, it enables us to not just survive, but also thrive. Look at all the achievements that we have amassed since we've been here over 400 years. No one would think that we've been able to achieve such a thing if we have not done this collectively and have that spirit of Ujima coming from this enslavement situation. So how do we get to this point where we continue to thrive with our families and our children and our community? It's because of our commitment to the values, to the best of African thought and practice, I would argue. In those 7 areas of culture that Kawahida puts forth, in our religious, in our spirituality and ethics, in our history, the best of our history and practice, in our political, in our social organization, right? Our families, our communities, in our economic organizations, right? Supporting Black-owned businesses, in our political organizations. Obviously, this year, we had a presidential election, and look what we achieved. Just look what we achieved. And you know that we are forefront and a vanguard when we talk about the political movement because the oppressor was trying so hard to disenfranchise us. But we said, no, we're not going for it. We stand on the shoulders of our ancestors who fought and died for the franchise and to maintain our right to vote. And so we built on that. We stood out there in a pandemic, in the elements, elderly people standing in line on hours and not letting the oppressor deter us from doing what we needed to do. And we accomplished that. And so that's just one of the examples that we've done. Look at the area of, I was just thinking back, we know we've suffered through Hurricane Harvey here in 2017 here in the Houston area. And look how we came together collectively during that period. This horrendous natural disaster and how we supported each other, how we maintained our efforts to support the most vulnerable and least of these during that pandemic. I think about that too when going back to Hurricane Katrina. You just saw so many of our Black people just loving each other and helping each other and not, being selfish and just giving of what we could, particularly to our elder and our youngest people and our children. That's who we are. That's the best of who we are. That's practicing Ujima, collective work and responsibility. And those are just 2 examples, right? So we have many, many more. So I'd like to leave you with this. This is a quote that I love that Dr. Karinga says, and it's a good charge for us as we move into this Kwanzaa season and celebrate these valuable principles to forge us ahead in our Black community and development. And so that quote is, to know our past and honor it, to engage our present and improve it, and to imagine a whole new world and forge it in the most ethical, effective, and expansive ways. Hotep, Ashe, Haiti. Haiti's our Kwanzaa. Happy Kwanzaa.
Happy Kwanzaa. Ujima.
Ujima, collective work and responsibility.
That's right. Brother Ola, give him another one, y'all. Give him another one. This man. And brother, the message today is that we can celebrate, we can pray, we can walk, we can talk, but the Kazi is the blackest of them all. Work is the blackest of them all. So we got a lot of work to do, y'all. A whole lot of work to do. It's a whole lot of Ujima. But we got to do it collectively, not individually. Say, I am because we are. We are, therefore I am. There's no me without you, and there's no you without me. Or we're all part of a family of interdependence. We need each other. We can't benefit from that need unless we work together collectively. The message was clear. Now it's time for us to move on and get down with some serious work. Serious work. We're going to go out this day of Kwanzaa with celebrating. So when I leave here, celebrate, hug, embrace, but more important, get to work. Let's see some Ujima, Ujima, Ujima. So Ola, give us some.